Chicago erupts. Border Patrol agents open fire during ICE raids. Protesters call it state violence while Trump orders the National Guard onto the streets. But as governors resist, judges push back, and communities brace for more raids, America's battle between federal power and local defiance turns explosive. A federal agent shot and wounded a woman driver in Chicago, the Department of Homeland Security said in a statement. According to DHS, the agent opened fire after the armed motorist allegedly attempted to ram a law enforcement vehicle. Officials said the individual sustained non-life-threatening injuries, while no officers were hurt. The incident was followed by hours of tense clashes between protesters and federal authorities as tear gas and other chemical agents were deployed several times. Meanwhile, DHS issued a warning.
These attacks on our brave law enforcement officers must end. Secretary Noem has taken action to deploy additional resources to restore law and order. We will not allow domestic terrorists to attack our law enforcement. If you lay a hand on law enforcement, you will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Amid growing outrage over a series of federal immigration raids in Chicago, tensions boiled over in the Brighton Park neighborhood. Local leaders say an ICE-involved shooting marks a dangerous escalation, accusing federal agents of spreading fear, not safety.
Here we're in Brighton Park in Chicago on 39th and Kedzie. Was a shooting earlier, an ICE-involved shooting. We want to demand an investigation. They are escalating violence. They are escalating violence in the city. This is not making anyone safer. These raids, you saw that the raids that just did a few days ago, they were innocent people. They have not shown the need to go and terrorize families in the middle of the night, zip-locking kids, getting people naked in the middle of the street. Is that public safety? Is this public safety ended up with a shooting? Some being chased and now wrecked in a few blocks away from here? This is not keeping nobody safe, and they know that.
US President Donald Trump has moved to deploy the National Guard by authorizing 300 troops to protect federal officers and assets in Chicago, where Border Patrol agents shot and injured a woman. White House spokesperson Abigail Jackson confirmed that the president had authorized using Illinois National Guard members, citing what she called ongoing violent riots and lawlessness that local leaders have not quelled.
President Trump will not turn a blind eye to the lawlessness plaguing American cities.
Trump has characterized both Portland and Chicago as cities rife with crime and unrest, calling the former a war zone and suggesting apocalyptic force was needed to quell problems in the latter. Since the start of his second term, he has sent or talked about sending troops to 10 cities, including Baltimore, Maryland, Memphis, Tennessee, the District of Columbia, New Orleans, Louisiana, and the California cities of Oakland, San Francisco, and Los Angeles. A similar mobilization of 200 National Guard troops in Oregon was temporarily blocked after a federal judge found President Donald Trump was likely overstepping his legal authority in responding to relatively small protests near the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement building in Portland. U.S. District Judge Karen J. Immergut, an appointee of President Donald Trump himself, issued a temporary restraining order after Oregon and Portland sued. The order expires on October 18th, but could be extended.
This historical tradition boils down to a simple proposition. This is a nation of constitutional law, not martial law. Defendants have made a range of arguments that, if accepted, risk blurring the line between civil and military federal power, to the detriment of this nation.
It is not, however, just the judiciary that poses a threat to Trump's Guard deployment plan. The federal states aren't pleased either. Meanwhile, the Illinois Governor JB Pritzker did not mince his words while criticizing the president's attempts to militarize civilian areas. Trump had earlier given the Democrat governor a 48-hour ultimatum to deploy the National Guard. Addressing the media, Pritzker said,
Donald Trump wakes up, and depending upon which side of the bed he wakes up on, or what his mood is, or maybe what he had to drink the night before, we don't know exactly what's going to come out of his mouth and what he's going to tell people to do. We know that they're planning more than 200 agents on the ground. Remember, this is bad for the state of Illinois. This is bad for the economy of the state of Illinois. You saw the business community standing with me when I was pushing back on the idea of bringing troops into Illinois that Donald Trump has. Frankly, standing up and speaking out and ready to take them to court and do everything that we can to protect the people who live here from what Donald Trump is trying to do, which is to disrupt the country, not because he's going after criminals, but because he has a nefarious plan, frankly, to bring military into cities so that ultimately in the 2026 election, people will be normalized to the idea of militarisation during the next election so that he can affect the outcome of that election. This is no joke. Donald Trump is doing something that's not normal, and we should not accept it in this country. It's un-American, it's anti-American what Donald Trump is doing.
While it remains to be seen whether Trump succeeds in deploying National Guard in Democrat-run cities or the resistance forces him to budge. For now, though, things have gotten ugly, and both sides seem pointing fingers at each other.